We're still here. So come and get us, motherfucker.
The Predator is like the fourth or fifth remake of this damn franchise about an alien predator on the prowl for human flesh. Bleh. The first Predator is an action classic, with Arnold Schwarzenegger being trademark Arnold all the way through.
Stick around.
The second one, while not being as well regarded as the first, is still fun for its utter ridiculousness alone.
You are one ugly mother.
I should state now that I have not seen the other reboot from 2010. I hear it's alright, but I can't make any comparisons to that one. With that said, how does Predator 4 stand as a part of the franchise? It's an odd one to say the least. Oddly disappointing, the remake was co-written and directed by Shane Black, the guy who brought us Lethal Weapon, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Iron Man 3, and The Nice Guys. He was also a writer of the original Predator, and was even in the movie as an actor.
She got it! Everything that Uncle done, baby! The other day I went up to my girlfriend. I said, you know, I'd like a little pussy. She said, me too. Mine's as big as a house.
His involvement seemed like a pretty cool idea. He's a really talented filmmaker and all his movies have been enjoyable. Even though Iron Man 3 was okay-ish, it had moments in it that worked. Still a shame we aren't getting a Nice Guys sequel. He's attempting to take this film in a far more comedic approach, which honestly is not that different from the others. They all had comedic moments and stories that otherwise take themselves fairly seriously. But here, they really went overboard on the jokes, to the point where there's something like 5 different comedic relief characters. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. The storyline feels weirdly confusing, like it's about this guy who's in the army and is under arrest for accidentally having his men killed by a predator, teaming up with a bunch of misfit soldiers, but it's also about this lady scientist who's been called in for research on these creatures, but then it's about the army guy's son, who's able to successfully decrypt a piece of predator armor because he has autism. Oh, I'll get to that in a minute. But you got these 3 storylines where the first 2 are kind of related, but the third one is so random, it's like some sort of drama about a kid who gets bullied in school, who also comes across alien tech. Like, isn't that the plot to like that Kin movie that came out or something? Anyway, one of the things I liked about the Predator movies is how they build up a level of mystery for these creatures. Like, they never explain too much to the audience, they let you pick up the information you need to know. They're hunters. They've come to Earth to hunt for sport, and the sport are humans. They bleed green blood and have little healing things on them. Predator 2 even shows off the spaceship with all these skulls, including xenomorph ones. On top of that, you never get a good look of them from the beginning. You always see them cloaked and wearing the mask until the third act. Now in this movie, within the first 3 minutes or so, not only do you see them and their faces, but in another early scene where the scientists are looking over the body, they're straight up telling the audience that these aliens are hunters and have come to hunt on Earth for sport. Okay, how do you know that? Just by watching them fight for like a minute. The Predator has done very little at this point, yet they can accurately exposition its purpose. There's lots of other expositional plot dumps scattered throughout. More so, getting back to that kid, the Predators from space see the kid as a savant because of his autism. Yes, according to this movie, if you have autism, you are a genius. You are the next step in human evolution. Aliens will want to abduct you for their own planetary needs. Well, if that's the case then, I don't get it. I mean, I'm autistic. Why am I so bad at math? Would I be able to encrypt alien technology? Maybe by accident. I would have just fucked around with it until I pushed the button that did something. Anyway, the main characters are boring and unremarkable, which is a new low, not just for this franchise, but for Shane Black himself. He's usually great at writing characters, and writing comedy, cause every joke here feels so try-hard and sitcom-y. All the comic relief soldiers are the same character, with subtle differences, like one has Tourette's, one's Keegan-Michael Key. That's all I can remember. It gets hard to tell them apart at times, and they feel practically useless. There is this really cringeworthy "get to the chopper" line that was said by one of these characters, and I swear he was doing a Schwarzenegger accent while saying it. And even worse, they didn't even get to the chopper in that scene. A chopper was there, but they never got on it. They do eventually get to a chopper later, but it was a different one, and it didn't repeat that stupid quote. Did you really feel the need to reference that, Shane Black? I get it's iconic, but that's like if there was a Terminator reboot without Arnold and they have a character go, "I'll be back," but he like won't be back or some shit. It feels kind of like Black wanted to remake The Monster Squad, that film he wrote with the guy who also co-wrote this film. I mean, it's set during Halloween in a suburban neighborhood where actual monsters are in the area. But while watching this, it honestly reminded me less of Monster Squad and more of the Jack Black Goosebumps movie. Mainly in that they fight a bunch of CG monsters in a school building while delivering bad jokes. Oh, and speaking of, I guess I should probably talk about the Predator in The Predator. At first, despite his random introduction, he looked pretty cool, as it was a guy in a costume, and the costume looked pretty neat. But then, we are introduced to the giant Predator, and then the Predator dogs. Fucking Predator dogs. What? Like, they act like monsters, and then after they shoot one of them in the head, it starts acting like a dog? What? And the giant Predator is just big, like almost no point in having a regular sized one first. Also, the CG used on both the giant Predator and the dogs looks so bad. It looks like they were made in 2003 or something. I remember this being a similar issue I had with Alien Covenant. It just looks so cheap. And oddly enough, just like Covenant, the climax involves characters on top of a moving ship, or at least crawling around one. And the last scene in the movie, outside of being awful sequel bait, which good luck for that by the way, also felt really abrupt. Like they have this regular line and then boom, directed by Shane Black. What a disappointment. If there's anything positive I could say about it, I never really felt bored watching it. It at least held my attention even though it was on some stupid things. There are some ideas and concepts here that I like, such as seeing the Predator in both the forest and the neighborhood in the same movie was kind of fun. But alas, this is just another piece of the pile of pointless, unneeded 80s remakes. I expected better of you, Shane Black. Hopefully you'll redeem yourself soon, cause hiring an actual Predator to be in your movie ain't looking good on you. 4 out of 10.